with your vehicle donation. We have families waiting for a car. Over 85% of unemployed are successful in finding changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
With a look at your AM 950 forecast, this is Adam. 83 and light rain today for your high. For tonight, clouds 68, and then for tomorrow, a high of 82. Nightingale is your cozy, comfortable neighborhood bar and destination restaurant serving delicious food and drinks. Nightingale's current hours are 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. daily with a full menu until midnight. Takeout orders are still available. More at nightingalempls.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Living Healthy and Aging Well. My name is Ken Haglund, and we are broadcasting from the AM 950 radio station that overlooks beautiful Bryant Lake Regional Park, located in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. It's another great day here in the Twin Cities, and I am so grateful to be here with you today, and I hope all of you listening are doing well. We are on the air every Saturday from noon to 1 to talk about your health and your life. We cover a wide range of topics to help you and your loved ones improve and enjoy your quality of life. We have another great show for you today. Joining me in a few minutes will be Vitaly Salo, Executive Director of In-Home Senior Care, and he is here to talk about the specialized services that an in-home dedicated caregiver can give to your loved one. In-home senior care allows aging adults to receive everyday care tailored to their needs in the comfort and dignity of their own home so that you can focus on your relationship. So we're going to be really excited to talk to Vitaly Salo. I've known him for several years. We've been in senior groups together, and I know he is so passionate about the work that he and his organization do. So this will be a great show for you guys that are maybe considering in-home care for a loved one. I want to thank all of you that leave us messages on our radio show phone line. We appreciate hearing from you, and we welcome your comments, questions, and topics for future shows. Also, if you are interested in being a guest on our radio show, please call or text us at 612-999-3426. You can also contact us on our website at livinghealthyradio.com. There you can find information about upcoming guests as well as listen to our previous shows. We look forward to hearing from you. We are adding new listeners to the show each week, not only here in the Twin Cities of Minnesota, but also throughout the country. You can find podcasts for all of our radio shows on the AM 950 radio website. And we can also be found on your favorite streaming service such as iTunes, Spotify, and many other podcast and streaming services. You can also watch our broadcast live on the radio station's Facebook page at AM 950 Radio. If you have a question for us today, there's two ways to reach us. First, by calling the AM 950 radio station, and our friendly show engineer, Adam, will get your call on the air. Our phone number is 952-946-6205, or you can directly text us your question at 612-999-3426. Now, don't worry. If you missed our contact numbers, I'll repeat them throughout the show. All right. I am excited to welcome my guest for today's show, Vitaly Salo, Executive Director of In-Home Senior Care. Welcome to the show, Vitaly.
Oh, hey. Well, thank you very much for having me on. It's a privilege and a pleasure.
Well, I tell you, it is great. I've known you. We partner together in helping take care of our seniors, and it's been a great relationship. And so this is really exciting for me to have you on the show because I know of you and your team, just fantastic organization. So this is going to be really exciting. I know a lot of people have questions about, well, what is in-home care and what is home care all about? And so before we get into all that, I want to introduce you and tell us a bit about your background.
Yeah, so I've been doing this since 2003, and so in some
Wow.
ways I feel like this is this is the longest thing I've ever done in my life. So yeah, so that's I've been involved in care work and in home care since 2003, and I've thoroughly enjoyed, and it is my life's calling to and as I mentioned to people, I'm not a gifted caregiver personally, so it isn't something I would claim that I would do one-on-one care, and I'm really fantastic at it. But I've just enjoyed building the structure or the organization that supports the ability for people to bring one-on-one care into their homes, and of course there is a gifted aspect to the people that we hire, and they're just amazing at being able to not only deliver the tasks and the care that's needed, but more importantly connect with the person, right? And the companionship and just that trust that is there, that a human being can deliver, that somebody that knows them, somebody that
Mhm.
knows their routines, knows that the things that excite them and the things that bring fear, and allow them to be able to feel cared for in their home, but also having all the things that are needed taken care of for them. So yeah, so that's been a long time. Before that, I was in retail for a bit, and so it seems like a very different flip.
Two different worlds.
Two different worlds, right? And really, that was just sort of something I did when I was younger, and as this opportunity to be able to run an organization that cares for people, it resonated with me because my mom took care of my grandparents in the home, and I saw that, and I understood why people would want to. And of course, we know that most people, if given a choice, they would rather age in their own home versus having to be somewhere else. And of course, the infrastructure out there and the other places, buildings around that, they're fantastic. So there isn't something in terms of that, but there is something very powerful for people that say, well, I want to at least remain in my own home as long as I can, or
Right.
or maybe through the end, if that's the desire and there's the realistic ability. So that's a little bit about me. I'm a husband, I'm a dad. I've got two grown kids, 25 and almost 22. So kind of at a great stage with my wife where the kids are still living at home, but it's the two of us that we get to enjoy. We don't have to worry about taking care of them.
Right.
And of course, I've got my mom is I provide care for her. Again, not one-on-one directly necessarily, but I'm involved
Mhm.
quite a bit in making sure she's okay and those kinds of things. So, and yeah, so that and some church work.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah,
But one of the things I know you're very involved with the communities. That's so important. I mean, the work that you do in home care, the work that my organization does in hospice, end of life care. You just have to be involved with the communities because there's just trying to get the word out. And that's why one of
yeah,
the reasons why I started the show years ago was to help people that have these great services like you that have a passion for it, who believe this is their calling, to get that message out to the public. Because in hospice here, it's amazing how many people don't know resources, where to
right.
turn, what to do. We just are not trained to think about the needs that we're going to have as we get older.
No, and it's complex, right? Because so there's a lot of segmentation within.
Mhm.
So you have, the large names out there, and a lot of times they provide certain aspects of care, but depending on what someone really needs, you really do need more education, and you need those resources, education in a community for people to understand. And I think like vast majority of our business it comes to us as a word of mouth
Mhm.
referral, either from a previous client or from a healthcare community. And those are that's powerful because again, like when you need something, of course we have Google, we have all these web and tech things that are
Mhm.
part of our now everyday life, but it's very difficult to have a high trust when you just
Mhm.
Google something, right? You want to know that does this company really good? Are they going to do what's needed, or are they even going to tell me that this isn't really up their alley, and maybe they're not the best provider for this, or they'll give me a better name, right? So those are, I think that's the community aspect of it, of working with providers, even competitors sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And to be able to say, hey, like, I know you guys do this, and you can actually probably do this part better. I'd rather you guys handle this client, because in the end, I think it comes back around. So yeah, I think so the community piece is really, really important. And of course, most, like for caregiving anyway, caregivers will only drive so far realistically, right? So you have to really kind of see it as that, as like, there's different parts of the area we service, and we kind of have these kind of almost like hub cities that somebody, we've got caregivers here, we've got caregivers in another, town that will kind of serve those areas. But realistically, and given our winters and all that, you're only going to drive so far.
Right.
Yeah. So.
But I think that also adds, though, to the quality of care, because now people that live in the area that they're serving in, you just have, the culture, you just kind of know the landmarks. I mean, there's a lot of these people that we're taking care of have been in their home for their entire life.
Yeah.
Some were born there,
yeah,
and they took over the home, especially, in the outlying areas or farmsteads.
Yeah, some of the farmsteads. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, these have been in the family for generations.
Yeah.
And so it's amazing how they have such ties to the community.
Yeah.
And if you can find people, like with my organization, we really try hard to find people that live in the areas that they serve in.
Yeah.
Because it just makes for
there's a
great
connection.
Yeah.
There's a deeper connection to what the area is, what it represents, and there's an interest higher or instant higher trust when you can introduce someone that's like, their town or town next over, versus somebody that's coming from, from farther away, because they're, they know the area, and they're, it's like, oh, this person's here. They're local. They're local here. Yeah.
Well, and we are all made up of stories.
Yes.
And so much of the stories are things that happen in our home, in our hometown, in a town we're living in. So it's great to have that. I think that's the natural thing why community support, like your organization and my organization, just makes so much sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Vitaly, it's time for a short break. We'll be right back to continue our conversation with Vitaly Salo, Executive Director of In-Home Senior Care, and he is here to talk about the specialized services that an in-home dedicated caregiver can give to your loved one. If you have a question for Vitaly, please give us a call, 952-946-6205, or you can text us at 612-999-3426. I'm Ken Haglund, and you are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well.
Overwhelmed trying to make sense of Medicare? As a licensed advisor, I can help you determine your healthcare needs and evaluate your options. I'm Harvey Pearl of Pearl & Company, and I want you to have the peace of mind knowing you have the best coverage available. You deserve an advocate you can trust and coverage you can rely on. And there's no fee, ever. Annual enrollment is October 15th through December 7th. Call me now at 651-303-8889 so we can strategize together.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. Native culture is alive and thriving at the Minnesota State Fair. The Native Roots Trading Post is back at the West End Market, where you can support Indigenous artists and makers. And don't miss the Native Pride dancers performing on the Summit stage at the Bazaar August 31st and September 1st. From music and art to food and storytelling, Native culture is everywhere at the State Fair. Tickets are just $17 through August 20th at mnstatefair.org.
Minnesotans age 65 plus might qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. The easy all-in-one plan includes personal support, coverage for medical, prescription drugs, and dental, plus many extra benefits. Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
Hi, this is Laura with Food Freedom Radio, and I invite you to discover 2 local grocery stores with a global fare. Market Fresh, south of Rosedale, carries fresh vegetables, quality meats, seafood, and a wide variety of grocery staples, all in a welcoming store. Shanghai Wholesale Market is in the St. Paul Midway area, and it's a food warehouse open to the public. Shanghai Wholesale carries more than 500 types of noodles. And frankly, it's time for Minnesotans to learn that pasta is a little bit more than spaghetti noodles and tuna casserole. There's sweet potato, bean, rice, fresh, frozen, dry. It's a paradise for those seeking gluten-free pasta. Also, both Market Fresh and Shanghai Wholesale Market seek to buy local, so you can look for local quail eggs, unique cheeses, and Minnesota-made tofu. Open the door to food abundance. Discover Market Fresh, your local Asian food store just south of Rosedale, and Shanghai Wholesale Market, your local international food warehouse north of Menards in the St. Paul Midway area.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
Welcome back. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about helping you and your loved ones improve and enjoy your highest quality of life. My name is Ken Hagelin, and joining me today is Vitali Salo. He is the Executive Director of In-Home Senior Care, and he's sharing about the specialized services that an in-home dedicated caregiver can give to your loved one. I know there's a lot of misconceptions and misunderstandings of what is in-home care, and we're here today to kind of dispel that and make sure you guys have a real clear understanding as to the benefits that you can get from having somebody who's trained as a in-home caregiver. Vitali, how can our listeners contact you or your organization if they have questions or want more information?
Yeah, so our main number is 952-882-9300. And then on the web, our website is inhomemn.com, and that's home without an E. So inhomemn.com is our website.
All right. INHOMMN.com. So very easy to get to, folks. So if you want to follow along on today's show, go to there and you can see all the different resources that are available. And it's very easy to get in contact with him and his organization. He's got a website here that you can just fill in your information, or you can just make a phone call. Very, very easy. Nice website. Very nicely designed.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about, again, I think people get confused sometimes what in-home care is and the different levels of care.
Sure.
It's again, I've been doing hospice here for over a decade, and there's all levels of care, and it can be confusing. And I know our social workers work with your team to help make sure there's coordinated care, because as a medical practice, there's only so much we can do in terms of time. We have appointments, whereas your organization can really help be a caregiver that's there for and whatever the care plan calls for in terms of time. Why don't you explain a little bit, maybe some of the differences?
Yeah, and it's interesting. So both your service and ours is very similar, I think, in that most people could care less about it in a sense until their loved one is in a situation where they all of a sudden need to know and need to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So part of what we really do is first of all act as experts to just help them really kind of decipher what is the need. Like you're confused. Does mom need care? Do I need what should I be thinking about? What should I be putting in place? And so yes, when we come alongside your organization and the services that you provide, we will end up being there for X number of hours. Really, that's our
Mhm.
piece. Like we can be there for the overnight. We can be there for
Right.
8 hours, 10 hours a day. We can be there 24/7 to make sure that every little thing that they need is going to be handled. And that care plan, of course, when we create that, that will change over time, right?
Mhm.
In a larger sense, like we have clients who come on services with minimal care
Mhm.
needs where they're just starting, right? They're just going, okay, maybe some maintenance care. So helping with things like changing linens, doing the laundry, helping them get to the store, get to appointments, and just helping them upkeep their home a little bit, and a connection and a relationship that allows for our caregiver, who's a normal now visitor for maybe
Mhm.
3 days a week in the home,
Mhm.
to go, hey, oh, today, Dorothy's not doing great. What's going on? She's off from her normal self, right? Because by having some cadence of coming in there, we can know that. And then on the other side would be referrals like from hospice, where that person may need quite a bit of care. Somebody
Mhm.
at the bedside, somebody to make sure everything, and a lot of coordination between like our nurse and your nurses, in terms of making sure that when those med changes start to happen,
Right.
and because we are there for the duration of time, and
Mhm.
so we're handling that piece of it. And so there's some complexity to
Mhm.
those things, but it's when it's done right, it's done well, and then the family can have the peace of mind. And of course, family many times will still play a caregiving role,
Mhm.
and so we'll sort of sort that out, and they'll maybe do some and have us do more. But more often than not, we see family wanting to have the freedom and flexibility of actually popping in and spending time with the person, versus like being on a schedule to have to come in for a 4 hour
Mhm.
shift, if you will.
Right.
And then we can kind of handle all the heavy lifting for the cares that are needed. And they can more or less just spend time with the person, right, when they come by, when they are there. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned to you on the break that there's times when my team will go into a home and there's two people there, and you're wondering which one is the one that needs hospice because they're
Yeah.
both exhausted. I mean, the
Yeah.
caregiver has dedicated, again, possibly years to
Yeah.
caring for somebody who is declining or has a condition that requires that. And the problem is that they forget that they are still a spouse, or,
Yeah.
or they're a child, and they fall into this caregiver role, which again is great, tremendous heroism there. But sometimes people lose sight of the fact that I just want to sit at the bedside or just sit in the couch
Right.
and have a conversation and not worry about, well, when's the next med that's going to be given, or
Yeah.
all the caregiving, because it is extensive.
Yeah. Well, and it's the, especially spouses, right? When they take the vows of till death do us part seriously, and so they're like, they just jump in with
Mhm.
both feet, and I'll do whatever it takes. But we're all finite, right? We
Mhm.
all have, like, I compare it to a cell phone, right? We all have to plug in our cell phone at night. It has to recharge, otherwise it's just going to die, and it won't provide us any good.
Mhm.
We, with our emotional and our physical support and help that we're giving, we're similar. Like, there's a limit, right?
Mhm.
We all of us might have a slightly
Yeah, right.
different
bandwidth.
limit, right?
Yeah.
Different bandwidth, but still there's a limit. And so we've had,
Yeah.
it sticks in my mind, because a lot of times we're contacted by family for care for someone. Let's say mom's really been struggling for a couple of years, dad's really rolled up his sleeves and he's handling everything. And then in the midst of that process, as we're signing, dad will have a some sort of a hospitalization, some sort of an
Oh,
emergency.
sure.
And a lot of that is really preceded by the stress,
Yeah.
because they finally got to the point where they called us. Well,
Right.
so something was already kind of
Right. In the works.
in the
Right.
works. And so, but that primary caregiver, I mean, that stress will manifest itself in actual physical
Mm.
illness at some point as well. So it's just those things, to be aware of that, because I think it's a factor. Like the spouse, you kind of lose that identity and become the caregiver.
Mhm.
And and we all can flex into those roles, but when it's overwhelming, there's a point where that person needs help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And many times we're like a frog in the beaker. We get really overwhelmed. We don't even realize it
Right.
until something happens, something breaks, something, all of a sudden that person has to get hospitalized or whatever. But again, exhaustion it can really creep up on people.
Yeah,
And because
absolutely.
their love for their person, their loved one, just takes over.
Yeah,
And so
absolutely.
no, it's a great way. We'll talk about respite and things like that at the next segment here. But it's time for a short break. We'll be right back to continue our conversation with Vitaly Salo, Executive Director of In-Home Senior Care. If you have a question for us, please give us a call, 952-946-6205, or text us at 612-999-3426. I'm Ken Hageland, and you are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well.
Do you have a loved one who is not receiving the care that they deserve at their current memory care facility? I'm Aiden Helene, Director of Community Relations here at the Welshire, and I meet with families every single day who are struggling with poor staffing, missed medications, poor personal cares, and an absence of engagement from consistent activities. 85% of our residents at the Welshire are coming from other memory care facilities that could not meet their care needs. Not all memory care is created equally. And if this is something your family is experiencing, I encourage you to come visit our community of well-being and see the Welshire difference, where we promise that your loved one will live with pride and dignity. The Welshire has 24/7 nursing, a robust activities team that provides activities 7 days a week. And when the diagnosis takes a 9-to-5 approach, so will we. Book a tour at welshiremn.com and see our community of well-being in action. That's welshiremn.com. Again, that's welshiremn.com.
Summer is going fast, but Next Chapter Booksellers has everything you need to keep up with your summer reading. From the hottest new titles to timeless classics, Next Chapter Booksellers has something for any taste. Their friendly staff are great at making recommendations for the perfect summer read for you or your loved ones. Plus, Next Chapter Booksellers has a wide variety of puzzles and games for those rainy days. So keep up with your summer reading at Next Chapter Booksellers off Snelling and Grand in St. Paul. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown with a question for our listeners. How important are business values to you? When you need high-quality digital print, it matters who you work with. You see, Minuteman Uptown is unique. We're one of the only union print shops in Minnesota providing our team with living wages and benefits. We believe in second chances for justice-impacted individuals who want to contribute to the community, and we are active in local issues. We've been in the streets standing up for racial, social, and economic justice. At Minuteman Uptown, our mission is to connect all communities through technology-driven print solutions. An example of that mission is when I moved Minuteman Uptown to North Minneapolis. We're invested in this local community, and we help small businesses and local organizations throughout the Twin Cities reach their audiences. Reach out to Minuteman Uptown and partner with a printer that shares your values. Call us today at 612-870-0777 or visit us at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
Located just north of 50th in France, the Great Wall Restaurant has provided a delicious taste of authentic Chinese cuisine since 1981. Specializing in Szechuan and Peking dishes, they offer one of the most extensive menus in the Twin Cities. Favorites include hot and sour soup, pan-fried dumplings, and mushu pork with homemade Chinese pancakes. Stop by their Edina location or call for takeout at 952-927-4439. See the full menu at greatwallrestaurant.us.
With your AM 950 forecast, this is Adam. 83 and light rain throughout the day today, 68 in clouds for a low tonight, and for tomorrow, we're looking at a high of 82. Nightingale is your cozy, comfortable neighborhood bar and restaurant destination, serving delicious food and drinks. Nightingale's current hours are 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. daily, with their full menu available up until midnight. Takeout orders are still available. More at NightingaleMPLS.com.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Saturday.
Welcome back, everyone. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about helping you and your loved ones improve and enjoy your quality of life. My name is Ken Hageland, and joining me today in the main studio at AM 950 is Vitaly Salo, Executive Director of In-Home Senior Care. And he's here today to update us on the benefits of having a partnership with a home care organization like his. And we're going to talk about some of the specialized cares that he can provide. He also we'll talk about the comprehensive license that he has and what are the services that his organization can provide that maybe some others can't. So we got a great next couple of segments here. So stay with us, folks. If you have a question, again, give us a call or give us a text. Before we return to our conversation with Vitaly, I want to mention this radio show is brought to you in part each week by Minnesota Hospice. Minnesota Hospice is an independent, locally owned medical practice serving our Twin Cities communities with comprehensive end-of-life health care. The team at Minnesota Hospice provides patients and family members with award-winning end-of-life healthcare services. You may not be aware that hospice brings compassionate medical, social, emotional, and spiritual services to your home with typically no cost to you or your family. Please do not wait to learn how hospice care can benefit you and your loved ones. If you have any questions regarding end-of-life care or support, please contact the compassionate team of experts at Minnesota Hospice. They are available to answer your questions 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by a registered nurse. Their phone number is 952-898-1022. Once again, 952-898-1022, or visit them online at minnesotahospice.com. All right, let's return to our conversation with Vitaly Salo. If you have a question for us, please give us a call, 952-946-6205, or text us at 612-999-3426. Vitaly, how can our listeners contact you guys if they have questions or want more information?
Yeah, our main number is 952-882-9300. Again, that's 952-882-9300. And our website is inhomemn.com. So that's home without an E. So INHOMMN.com.
Perfect. And it's a great website, folks. Very easy to read and navigate, just like his services. They just easy to do. Just give them a call. They'll take great care of you. Again, we have so many things to talk about here, and we're got to kind of prioritize because I want to make sure people understand there's different levels of home care. Home care is a big umbrella.
Yes.
I mean, hospice falls into home care.
It does, yeah.
And it's a medical practice. Tell us about the in-home care levels that are available to people and maybe how they should maybe distinguish between the various types of home care services.
Yeah, so I think the two easy sort of things to maybe just kind of keep in mind is what we would kind of talk about as skilled and non-skilled. And so skilled would be, kind of heavy nursing, physical therapy, occupational therapy, things that you would kind of do with a short visit. You would visit, do something, and you're done. And then what we do is what we consider non-skilled, and it's sort of a weird term because it makes it sound like we don't have any training, but no, it's not that at all.
No.
But it's really so think of that as like blocks of time where there might be a primary kind of a trigger. Might be somebody needs help with bathing now, or maybe they need to help getting dressed every day. So those might be kind of the primary triggers, but we're also going to help with all sorts of little things like changing linens, helping them with their laundry, taking them out to an appointment, or just helping with upkeep of the home, or helping with whatever kind of comes up in that visit. And so along with that, like the foundation of all of that is really companionship, and that's the connection to that caregiver.
Right.
So that caregiver being the same person that's going to work with them on a regular basis establishes that trust level. And so, like when we talk about serving a meal, right? Meals are not just food and sustenance. It's a social gathering, right? So whether it's two people getting together for lunch or a caregiver and a client, like that's always a thing. We want them to be eating that meal together because people who live alone, who don't have it, like eating becomes a kind of a weird thing. Like people don't think about it until they're in that scenario. Nobody wants to cook for themselves. Nobody wants to be, because meals are a social occasion. So that's a little bit. Now, the biggest thing I'll say is that, so we do no cost, no obligation consultations to help families figure out what they need, because part of the challenge with home care being kind of like this big thing, like what is it, is that it is confusing. Like, what should I be looking at? What does my mom need? Is there an assessment? How can I figure out what the needs really are? So that's our way of like coming out and just sitting with the family with no obligation to purchase services from us, and no cost for that visit, to just establish a connection and help us, or allow us to help you to determine what the needs might be. And so we have an assessment that they can kind of do on their own and kind of look at what are all the different things. Have I even considered, what about this? What about that? What about going to church on Sunday? Is that a thing? Oh yeah, we could take someone to church on Sunday. And all kinds of different things. And then, from there to kind of go, what's the plan? Are you early enough to where you're thinking about this a year or two from now? Because the needs aren't really strong. Or is this something that you really should have care in there, because you don't want to wait for something bad to happen, because a lot of our care starts after someone's had a broken hip,
Right, a
and
fall.
and a
Yep.
fall of some sort. And then it's like, well, then you're looking at a much more intense care package, right? Because you need somebody there for quite a bit of the day to make sure that all those needs are addressed.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and you talked about food, and what we find is that people's nutrition really starts to drop off when they have just the limitations of movement.
Yeah.
Again, there's always concerns by the kids saying, are they going to leave the burner on, or are they going to?
Yeah.
And again, just have something there. But sometimes as people age, they start skipping meals.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden their nutrition is dramatically impacted.
Yeah.
And we see it when we come in there, and it's like, oh my gosh, you just got to get someone to have a few meals a day, and not just maybe snacks,
Yeah.
actually a meal. But
Actually
you're right,
a
that
meal.
we always talk about the nutritional and the emotional.
Yeah.
As you meant, there's a social aspect to it.
Yeah.
And so that people then start looking forward to the meal rather than being a hassle. They're looking forward to it because
Yeah.
they're going to sit down with somebody.
Yeah.
Because
And
kids are working. I mean, people have things to do.
absolutely. And we can tailor the meals to be what they typically would eat, right?
Right.
So we're
Yeah.
not, giving them something that would not be their normal meal, right?
Right.
So that's our goal. And depending on a number of visits somebody has, we have families too where the caregiver's making a larger portion. They're portioning some things and putting in the fridge for the person to reheat and whatnot. But also the taste and the quality of the food will make a difference in the fact, how well the person will eat. But that social aspect is just big, and that companionship to where, enjoying that meal together is much more exciting than looking forward to eating dinner by yourself, right?
A TV
So,
dinner
yeah.
on your lap. That's
Yeah.
just right. No. Well, we've learned from COVID just how isolation, loneliness, and boredom is deadly.
Yeah,
It's just it's the worst thing for people to do.
absolutely.
And so that's why, again, having people they can come again. It sounds like you have some flexibility in
Mhm.
terms of the services. I want to make sure we get that out because the calls I'm going to get after the show as well. Does he have a minimum? Is it how many hours a week, or how do you guys structure that? I know you guys are very flexible. With
Yeah,
things.
so we're flexible. We do have some minimums, and those are somewhat logistical issues, because when we provide care, of course, that care is being provided by a caregiver
Right.
who needs a certain number of hours, and for there to be a valid employment situation for them, right? So our minimums are 4 per visit and 12 per week. So that's usually 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And so what we've found is that, that minimum allows us to be in there, 3 times a week, so that we have a routine that we can understand. Our caregivers know what kind of normal looks like, and we're most helpful in that. And then people can kind of build from there. We will look at kind of unique situations, but we also don't want to sort of make ourselves everything for everybody. Like we're really good at that piece, because that relationship makes all the difference in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, you guys are trained. You can come in and see kind of
Yes.
the opportunities that maybe looking around the corner could be a problem or a concern, and you want to make sure you get on top of that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, we just had a caller calling in here, Melissa from Elko, called in, left a message for us, and wants to know how the prices, because she's in Elko.
Sure.
So we're in that part of the area, South Metro.
Yeah.
How does the prices, when you look at distance from the Twin Cities to like outside areas like Elko, because I know you guys, that's a part of your your coverage area.
It is, yeah. We cover.
Do
Oakland, yeah.
you have different pricing depending upon how far away?
No, yeah, our
home
rates,
is?
our rates are so they'll range from like in our case from 45 to 55, kind of depending on the level of care, and that really
Okay.
has to do with some of the tasks. In other words, if we're doing really kind of heavier duty
Mhm.
cares, it might be, bed bound hospice. It may be something like behaviors, dementia, like
sure.
where we have a subset of caregivers who are really well trained, and those are the ones that will go in there, and then kind of somebody in the more basic, care set. So so not really the difference between the distance or where somebody's at, but that's really what that would be. Yeah.
So it comes down to really kind of the quality of care,
Correct.
Really that's needed in that particular situation,
Yeah.
not really where they're located.
No,
Got it.
yeah.
Okay. So Melissa, I hope that answers your question. Feel free to text us any follow-up questions on that. We've got 1 minute left in this segment. There's, you talked about, I think when people in our world, we understand what ADLs are, activities of daily living, and there's 6 primary activities. And so when you guys go in to help assess some of the needs of a person, a loved one, it's are they able to toilet themselves? Are they able to get out of bed by themselves?
Yeah.
Are they able to put their clothes on by themselves? Are they able to eat by them? Are they able to eat? A lot of these things are really important. Sometimes a family will forget of all these different events that happen throughout the day, and it can really be, again, beneficial for having a caregiver there who's getting trained
Absolutely.
on all these activities of daily living, these ADLs, which are really important for quality of life.
Yeah. Well, and even like sometimes, so bathing is one of those that, so like a standby assistance with bathing is sometimes a trigger to where the person can kind of do it, but that stepping in and stepping out and some of those things, it's a high risk area for a potential fall.
Yeah.
Right. And so like families will wisely realize and go, it might be good to have some maintenance care in and help with this, make sure that we don't have something bad happen with a slippery floor or slippery
Water
tub or
spilling,
whatever. Yeah. So that somebody's there to just kind of make sure and help a little bit more.
All right. It's time for a short break. We'll be right back to continue our conversation with Vitali Salo, Executive Director of In-Home Senior Care. If you have a question, please give us a call, 952-946-6205, or text us at 612-999-3426. I'm Ken Hageland, and you are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
When was the last time you had your roof inspected for extreme weather and hail damage? This is Chad, owner of AM 950, to talk about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If you've noticed new roofing projects in your neighborhood, your home was likely hit by hail last summer and experienced damage. Snap Construction is helping homeowners like you, and they're the roofing specialists I trust. They are the most well-reviewed contractor in the Twin Cities and have a ton of positive customer reviews from homeowners just like you. Even better, Snap Construction's installations are backed by a lifetime warranty, so you know you're dealing with a qualified roofing expert. You want to work with a company that will be here for a long time after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims and will help you through the process. Do yourself a favor and get a free roofing inspection so you have the facts and peace of mind you deserve. Call Snap Construction today at 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP. Or visit snapconstruction.com.
Hey, this is Patrick for Zero Res. Did you know that August is Pet Appreciation Month? Zero Res is safe for all pets with no harsh soaps or chemicals in their cleaning products. If you have a pet like I do, you know they like to leave little bits of themselves around the house, whether that's fur or dander or worse, and you should call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to get things back in shape in your house. Carpet, tile, hardwood, rugs, upholstery, air ducts, every surface in your home can be Zero Resified. If you haven't tried out Zero Res or it's been months since your last deep clean, then now is the time to call. Right now, you can get your entire home zero-resified from Minnesota's ultimate carpet cleaner and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $149. Take 15% off pet odor treatments and 50% off an air duct cleaning. Schedule your appointment today at ZeroResMinnesota.com or call 9520-RES and ask for the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
All right, welcome back, everyone. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about helping you and your loved ones improve and enjoy your quality of life. And that's both for your loved one and for you as well. And we've been talking about that here with Vitaly Salo, Executive Director at In-Home Senior Care. My name is Ken Hageland, and we are talking about in-home care. And this is the last segment. And so we're going to try and talk about a number of things here to make sure people understand what's involved. And again, it can really be, it's not full-time. It can be full-time. It can be overnights.
Mhm.
Why don't we just talk a little bit again about some of the different service levels and duration levels that you offer through in-home senior care?
Yeah. So one of the coolest things that I've got to experience is, so like I said, we've done this since 2003, and we've had, multiple clients who have used us for more than 10 years. And typically in those situations, they use us till the end of life.
Yeah.
And so a lot of those would start out with very minimal care with a little bit of something. And then as they age and health conditions and health deterioration, and they would add on more. So we do, like I said, so the minimums are 4 hours a visit. Usually it's like a 8 to noon or a 1 to 5 are kind of the typical blocks for the morning and the afternoon. We also do overnight, so that sometimes is a situation where maybe the spouse is a primary caregiver. They're doing well with everything, but of course, what a good night's rest can do to your next day. And so that becomes an issue, right? Where we had this within actually my wife's side of the family, her grandmother and her grandfather, where they slept in different bedrooms, but she developed very strong dementia. And so towards the end, she would come and bother him all night and would be wondering why he's over there, why he's not with her, and would have all these questions. And he got to the point where he finally said, hey, to the kids, he said, you guys need to do something because I'm losing my mind. I can't, I'm not getting any sleep. And so that's a situation, for example, where a caregiver can come in and at night provide the direct care, do what needs to be done, so the caregiver spouse can actually get a good night's rest and then kind of handle the rest of the day. And then, like in some cases, we're in there 24/7, kind of handling everything. Sometimes with awake overnight. So our overnights kind of break up into what we call a sleep overnights, where a caregiver is going to rest throughout the night, but get up and assist as needed. And then awake overnights, of course, are just that. They're, and it's a little bit different because when you think of a healthcare setting like a hospital or even a care center, you've got lights on and things are buzzing. So now you think of a traditional home, your client is asleep, the house is dark. So the caregiver being up is a little different challenge. And so for the awake overnights, those are unique in that because that person may need some special assistance with safety and making sure that somebody's clearly got their eyes on him and dealing with those kinds of things. And so those are kind of some of the differences and some of that care that we provide.
So when it comes to, let's say, reminders for medication, I know that's one of the things that, let's say a person's on hospice, there's a regimented medication protocol, because one of the key things in hospice is to stay ahead of the pain.
Sure.
And so your team was able to help remind people that, hey, it's time to take the medication and those type of things, which I think is really important. Again, managing pain, and even just if it's a recovery thing. Someone has come from the hospital, they had a broken hip or some event, to make sure that they're doing a good job in getting recovered. Once they get through TCU and get home, there's still this recovery time that needs to be helped, and you guys can help do that as well.
Yeah, and a lot of it comes down to like following all the discharge planning rules and notes, right? Because that's what, if you do these things, you will recover faster. If you don't, I mean, you're kind of, that's some of the frequent flyer things where people end up back in the hospital because they go home and they just totally throw away that routine. And they're like, whatever, I'm just going to do my own thing. The other thing that I think what we do really well is we really see the whole care a component as not just the care receiver, who we call a client, but we see the family, and the family needs a lot of education. They need some support. So traditionally, we've done quite a bit of what we call family caregiver education, where we'll do workshops and we help educate on different things, including helping people to understand what hospice is, because hospice obviously is very misunderstood in many ways, unless somebody's really, gotten somebody to explain it and help them understand it. But it's the idea that we want to partner with the family and help them along and help them to make decisions and to make, what's coming down the road, what are some things for them to think about. And then obviously the caregiving, we're actually providing care to that individual that needs it, but the family's always there, and there's a lot of stress level when they're trying to juggle lots of different things.
Oh
right?
my
So,
gosh.
yeah.
Sandwich generation, right?
Yeah.
Taking care of your parents and your kids. And I mean, we know, I see it all the time. People are just beside themselves.
Yeah.
And when I use the word respite, they don't have any idea what that means.
Yeah.
It's a break for you.
Yeah.
And I know you guys are great at helping support respite. And it can be respite for 4 hours.
Yeah.
It can be respite overnight.
Yeah.
Just whatever that may be. But it's such a critical word so that people can, like you say, stay energized.
Yeah.
And keep that energy going.
Yeah, because again, as a caregiver, especially the spouse, right, there is this like, well, okay, so I just got to deal with this. I got to do this.
Right.
But just getting out of the home, like being able to get away, whether you do a little shopping or maybe you play golf, maybe you do whatever, like whatever your normal routine would be that you've now cut out because you're now this responsible caregiver.
Yeah.
And so we want to be able to, because you will be a better caregiver if you get a little break and you can come back and be recharged, go have lunch with your buddies, go, if it's the woman caregiver, go do your hair, do whatever
have a spa day.
Exactly. And so when you come back, you can be away and having the peace of mind knowing that things are handled.
Right.
And even some of your own things that maybe you're doing, like laundry and whatever, we can help with some of those things. So there's a smaller list for you to deal with when you get home.
Right.
But that is that aspect to where, the caregiving isn't just for a person who lives alone. It isn't for someone who doesn't have family who would otherwise take care of them.
Right.
It's the team approach. Like we are there to help you do what you want to deliver for your loved one.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. End of the show. One more time, let's tell people how they can get a hold of your organization. If they have any questions, want more information.
Yeah, we want to hear from you. Call us 952-882-9300. And then our website is inhomemn.com, and that's INHOMMN.com.
All right. We are at the end of the show, folks. I want to thank Vitaly Salo, Executive Director of In-Home Senior Care, and he's been here giving us all these great insights. We'll have to have you back on the show because we didn't get to like half the things we want to talk about here, which always happens. It's not your fault. It's the host's fault. But anyway, we just really appreciate you being here. And again, we love the partnership that you take with us to take care of people.
We love working with Minnesota Hospice. It's a great connection. So
we sure appreciate that. Well, everyone, we hope you enjoyed today's show. Please contact us with any questions or comments you have regarding today's conversation. You can reach us anytime by voice or text at 612-999-3426. Join us again next Saturday at noon for another broadcast. And thank you for listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about your health and your life. Until next time, choose to live well.
Overwhelmed trying to make sense of Medicare? As a licensed advisor, I can help you determine your healthcare needs and evaluate your options.